Okay, I want to take a few moments to discuss how to calculate a prediction interval. And I have already done a regression, okay, and this was my regression output. And basically what I've done a regression on is the year to predict price, okay? And I've highlighted some important things, the coefficients, right? These coefficients are really important. And basically what is these coefficients? They tell me that price, if I wanted to predict price, it's equal to that intercept coefficient, so negative 3669268.926 plus 1830.006. I'm just going to round that times year. Okay, so this regression, let me move it over, told me this is my model. All right. So in a previous video, I already discussed how to do that regression. So I'm regressing year onto price, okay? All right, so I have my regression model. Now I'm ready to make a prediction. So say I'm interested in how much will a car that was in 2015, how much will that car cost? Okay, because remember X is year. So first thing, I guess this is formatting it as a currency or as a dollar sign. I don't want that. So actually I'm going to highlight all these cells and just put them in the general format. If I press this little down arrow, it'll bring me all the formats, press general, and then press OK. Okay, and so that's just going to get rid of that dollar sign format. So if you ever have any issue where you're like, oh, that's not formatted correctly, that's the way you correct that. Press this little down arrow and then just do general. Okay. All right. So now y hat. How do I figure out the predicted price of a car from 2015? Okay. I'm going to use all formulas so I don't have any rounding error. So just press enter. And what I want that intercept. So I'm going to press that intercept cell. Okay. And I can see my formula up top here. So it's here, but it's also up here. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down. So I'm just going to type it in this this bar up top. Plus this year coefficient times, okay, what was my year? My year was 2015. Okay. I can type in 2015. I could press enter. Or I could have actually delete 2015. I could just use that cell reference too. Okay. So you see my intercept coefficient, which is B41, plus my coefficient for year times the year. Okay, press enter. And there we go. That is my y hat. That is my predicted price. Okay, I could format that as a price using this dollar sign format. Okay, so now how to find t. T, we'll type in equals t dot inverse dot 2t. All right, it's the two-sided t dot 2t. Okay, open parentheses. So it's two tails because it's we have both the lower and upper side of the prediction interval. Okay, so the probability is always 1 minus whatever your prediction level is. So if I want the 95% prediction level, 95% prediction interval, then my probability is going to be 0.05. Right? So it's basically whatever your alpha is, which is 1 minus whatever the prediction level is. Okay? Your degrees of freedom. Your degrees of freedom is going to be your sample size minus the number of coefficients that you used in this calculation of y hat. So we used 2 coefficients, so that's going to be -2, right? We had the intercept and the year. It's 2 coefficients. So your sample size minus the number of coefficients. Now, if you ever forget how to do that, it's the same as the residual degrees of freedom. It's always going to be the same. Okay. So whenever you have a simple linear regression with only one independent variable, it's always going to be the sample size -2. If you have more independent variables, then it could be -3 or 4, etc. Okay. All right. Close parentheses and press enter. So now your standard error. Standard error for the model. Press equals. Do not just copy this and then you'll have rounding errors. Just put that cell reference. So there it is. It's from the regression statistics. You'll see it right there. That's the standard error that we want. Press enter. All right, your sample size is 10. All right, standard deviation of x. Okay, that's what this SDX is. Equals STDEV dot S, right? Sample standard deviation. Open those parentheses and highlight your x variable. Close parentheses, press enter. Mean of x, right? That's this x bar. So that's average, equals average. Highlight your x data, close parentheses, and press enter. All right, so that's everything I need to calculate this margin of error, right? So remember, margin of error is everything on the right-hand side of this plus minus sign, okay? So let's figure out what that margin of error is. Equals, all right, let's start here, T, press that cell, times standard error, okay, times SQRT, that's that square root symbol, 1 plus, so you see I have 1 plus 1 divided by n, okay, so let's use that cell reference, n is here, plus, okay, I'm going to need parentheses, so there's a parenthesis, XO. XO is your whatever you're predicting. So we're predicting it for 2015. Okay? Minus the sample mean. The mean of X. Okay? So notice how I'm just using cell references. I'm just clicking on them as I'm finding them in this equation, right? So don't type out these numbers. It'll lead to mistakes and rounding errors, which you don't want. So let's close those parentheses. So I'm here. X minus X bar. Okay, squared. A little caret and a square sign. Divided by. Okay. I'm gonna want another set of parentheses for this denominator. Okay, so n minus 1. Actually, I'm gonna need 2 sets because I'm gonna need that and another set of parentheses. So 10 minus 1. You see, I just clicked on that 10 and I wrote minus 1. Okay, you could have just written 9 there because that's an easy calculation. Okay. All right, times the standard deviation of x. So here's the standard deviation of x. Okay, then square it. So caret squared. Okay, so you see I clicked on this cell and then I squared it. All right, make sure that you see how my parentheses, when I closed it closed it here. All right, so if I do that again, you see how it highlights it. There you go. So it closed it there. So all of this needs to be in the numerator. Now, if I close another parenthesis, it should close the square root because all of this better be underneath the square root. Okay, and it did. If I do that again, you can see it. You see how it gets bold really quick there? Okay. All right. Press enter, and there's my margin of error. All right, now once you have your margin of error, so that's the hardest thing. All right, so just go through it carefully and press each item as you go through. Okay, I'm going to do it again really quick just to kind of show you again. So it's T, so you see I just click on T, times the standard error for the model. You just click on it. Times SQRT, 1 plus 1 divided by, so you see I have 1 plus 1 divided by, I just clicked on 10, plus, okay, and then this last piece this is the hardest piece, so we write XO minus the mean of X, so I clicked on that, close parentheses and square it, divided by, open 2 sets of parentheses, N minus 1, close that set, times the standard deviation of X, and you square it. That closes the parentheses on the denominator, that closes the parentheses on the square root. Okay? Alright, so once you have that, equals, okay, the lower prediction interval is going to be your y hat minus that margin of error. And then your upper prediction is going to be the y hat plus that margin of error. All right, and so there we go. We are 95% confident that a car that was produced in 2015 will cost between $7,246 and $29,370. And that's my prediction interval.